every Saturday I train from 12 to 5. So I get in at 11:50 and I put my shoes away. I'm taking my shoes off to train. Put my shoes on the shoe rack that's in like the top left corner of like where you enter the gym from. And I turn around and all of a sudden I'm just getting stabbed. Like I got stabbed here, right there. And then I shot for a double leg. He stabbed me twice in the back. Like, right there. It's fucking crazy. Stabbed me twice in the back. And then I dropped the guard, controlled the knife, controlled his wrist, his sleeve. I sweeped him. I got on top, and then I still have my hand on his blade, and I'm pinning it, and I bite his hand, and I take a fucking chunk out of his hand, like this part, right here. And then he let go of the knife. Right away, like the police came, they were across the street, and everybody was safe after that. I was fine.
Hi, this is Shadi. Today I have a short one for you. I will leave the link for the full Instagram post below. So, as you saw, it's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He was ambushed, and that person that attacked him was a former member, and that person wanted some vendetta, and it's a very ugly story. But as you heard, he did what he usually does, like a double leg, sweep, get on top, and then pin the arm. At the very end, he added that little bite. So regarding self-defense and survival situations, the body will do what it's used to doing. You're not gonna just remember something and then do it, because think of it very similarly to competitions where everything is flu and you barely remember sometimes how you were fighting. Your body was doing a lot of the stuff that you've been doing for a very long time in practice. Hence the expression, you fight how you how you train. So you can talk about in terms of intensity, but also in terms of technical arsenal. And that's very important, how you train. I've talked about this regarding guard slams, guard pulls, guard jumps, etc. Sure, you want to play the game, you can, but also have something like takedowns, have something like being comfortable on your 2 feet. Let's not forget, yes, it's a beautiful game that we play, pawns and points and all this stuff, but let's not forget that this is a martial art. And I'm very happy that he, despite the stab wounds, he's okay. He had a few stitches. I'm sure maybe he has not come to terms with it, but maybe it's gonna come back later. I hope he will have the support he needs, because these types of survival situations are some of the worst. So that's the thing. So we get back to the how you train. 6 years ago, there was a Newaza competition hosted by the Judo Federation, and they allowed a little bit more things like wrist locks or straight foot locks, nothing with torsions. And it was by the Judo Federation, so you had judo practitioners, and I was one of the competitors. I finished second, and guess how many leg locks were done that day? 0. Why? Because nobody does them in regular training, even if you allow something. So this is what I mean by, have a good habit of doing things that can also translate to self-defense. I believe Rokas and his teacher, years ago, they had this talk where he said that it's sports jiu-jitsu, it doesn't work in street self-defense, but he talked about the basics and how you get out of a headlock, how you move and sweep and lift your hips and all these things that can help. And here you can see the same with the sweep, with the double leg. You hear about these as if you're listening about a competition, when in fact he was fighting stabbing. He was getting stabbed as he was doing these, because that's what he's been training for years to do. So it's good that you can actually get these in some of these terrible situations, but at the same time, no fight is guaranteed to anyone, whether it is the severity of it, whether it is, the surprise element. In the past, like a few years back, I had like massive anxiety thinking about self-defense almost daily. And of course, this is due to some of my upbringing, the school I went to, all this stuff. But you know, the older I get, the more advanced I get, and now it gets more confident. And now I know that no fight is guaranteed. A lot of bad things can happen, despite having, I don't know, 6 black belts or whatever many decades you have under your belt. Bad things can still happen. But here's what gives me a lot of comfort, is that at least I know that when this happens, I can at least find a way to work with what's happening. So let's say I was jumped, I was getting struck in some way, shape, like you're gonna find within that chaos a way to get close the range, maybe take down, and then from there they're in your zone and not the other way around. Or at least here the stab wasn't too deep, or it wasn't at a vital point. And also I'm sure he didn't feel it when it was happening because of the adrenaline. But it's really sometimes like rolling the dice. And I'm happy he's gonna make a full recovery. And he was taking that picture with the jiu-jitsu hand sign and smiling, so at least that's good. But other than that, it's quite terrifying what can actually happen. And nothing is guaranteed, but to go around and thinking about what might happen is a very destructive thought process, in my opinion. I'm glad I let it go. Work through whatever happened to you. It's very important, because otherwise you're just gonna collapse, and that's a waste of training, in my opinion. And really work through whatever it is, because there's a lot of things that go into training. There's your own psychology, there's the fact that it's a martial art. If 2 people are white belts, they're not coming from the same place. Maybe someone has an experience in boxing or MMA or whatever it may be, and then they come mentally, psychologically, they're not going to be the same as a white belt who's never done anything in their life. So that's also another thing. And I can talk all day about this, but I'm just happy that he's okay, honestly. That's all I can think about. And fight the way you train, and make sure your training is not just I can only function off of my back. Please guys, I'm not saying you should be like a full martial artist, but have that 1 or 2 takedowns. Make sure you have good top game, bottom game. Judoka, same thing. Have good osai komi, and have good or have decent newaza, whatever it may be. So I'll leave the link below. If you have anything to add, let me know. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.